Hey guys, Chris here, Yes.Fit fam. Welcome to another Yes.Fit vlog. Today we're going to be talking about women and why they should lift weights. Today on the show, we have the pleasure of having Katie Eckstein on the show today. Just a little thing about you. Katie's fitness career started with martial arts, so we can dive into that. Very interesting. I didn't know that prior to this. She spent several years teaching it and earned a rank of a third-degree black belt. So I'm not going to say anything that I'm going to kick my butt with.
Dangerous.
Yeah. So she's since then used CrossFit. So she's a CrossFit coach. So she's used CrossFit as a platform to inspire her community. She's competed in events starting in 2015, and then also started coaching CrossFit also in the same year, 2015. She's currently the proud owner of a box at Canebrake Community Fitness. It is a CrossFit affiliate here in Florida. She's here today, like I said, to talk about why women in fitness, or why women in general, should get out of the habit of not lifting weights and why they should lift weights. So please welcome to our Yes.Fit vlog series, Katie. How are you?
Hi, good.
Nice to see you.
You
Awesome
too.
to be here. Awesome for you to be here today. So I'm going to get into not the lifting weights and why why the interest in kicking people's butts
In martial arts.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't really that active in elementary school or middle school. I did a little gymnastics here and there. I did some dancing, and then I did dance, and I kind of fell out of it. Middle school, I didn't really do anything. And then I got to high school, and I was like, oh, I want to do a sport. I wasn't sure what to do. I tried track for a year, and then I quit because I wasn't that good at it. So I did cheerleading. I ended up doing that for 3 years. And then I was just looking for something different. And you don't see a lot of women doing martial arts. So I was like, yeah. So that's like different. And it's, you know, a different way of moving your body and body control, awareness, building strength in different areas, flexibility. So I was really interested in that and there's the whole art of it. So I ended up finding a place near my house, and I dropped in, did a class, and I absolutely loved it.
That's cool.
So I tried it out. I ended up signing up for their black belt program, which was about like a year long. And I got to that point. I earned my black belt, and then I wanted to go continue. So I started coaching classes there. I eventually earned second-degree black belt, and then I finally... I've done this for 10 years now, and I finally gotten my third-degree black belt. Oh, wow. Yeah. And unfortunately, the reason I stopped was because it closed down eventually after a while. So I was kind of in a rut at that point. I was like, I've been doing this for 10 years. I don't know what to do with myself. This is all I've known for 10 years. So then we'll get into it later, but that's how I found CrossFit.
Yeah. So would you go back and do martial arts again? Or is it something like, are you kind of like a person that's like, okay, that's done, I'm going to go to the next?
Yeah, well, I enjoyed it from the time that I did it. I still enjoy it to this day. I don't practice currently, but I appreciate it for what it is. And I would still enjoy doing it. I've just moved on kind of like in this stage of my life, and I enjoy CrossFit that much more that I want to stick with it.
So let's get into it.
Yeah.
So like after, you know, now you are in CrossFit. So what is the aspects and challenges that, you know, jogged you? Like, hey, this is good. This is cool. I like it. Because, you know, we've had Amber, which is a student of yours. Like she went in there and then she found that all the swinging and stuff from the rings was cool, and then ended up convincing her dad to join. Yeah. So what was it for you first, you know, your first impressions of, you know, with CrossFit?
Well, I'll be honest with you, and this is with a lot of people. They're intimidated by CrossFit. Barbells, swinging from a rig, doing different movements on the floor. It was kind of intimidating to me at first. There had been a place near my house that opened up that had martial arts and CrossFit at the same in the same location. So I went in thinking, okay, I'm going to start doing martial arts here since my other place shut down. I'm just going to pick it up and just continue with the martial arts. So I went in with the intention of doing martial arts, and I did for a little bit, and then they kind of brought me over to their CrossFit side. and I absolutely loved it. So I tried a class. My first class was super hard. It was like their introductory workout. And there's like a bunch of running, a bunch of like push-ups, sit-ups, squats, like body weight stuff just to kind of show you the ropes, basically. And I was like, this is a challenge that I've never had before. I felt like amazing, like I was able to do this type of stuff. So I kept coming back, and eventually I started shifting away from the martial arts and more into CrossFit. So I got more into CrossFit at that point.
Did you now with CrossFit, were you able to go any further with that? Because I know that you, I mean, now that you're a coach, and like we said that you've competed. So there's a point when you are a casual to
everydayer.
Everyday or fitness person like me, you know, even as a trainer, I take fitness seriously. But there's that extra level where you want to take it as a competitor.
Right.
So what was that trigger in your head? Were you ever a competitor in Taekwondo when you did that?
Well, I did a couple meets, a couple competitions. It really wasn't my thing. I get very nervous when I compete. So it really wasn't my thing at the time. But I think as I got better at it, then I started to get more comfortable with the movements, and I wanted to compete more. But in the beginning, I was a little nervous. So I was like, I don't know if it's for me. But the same thing happened with CrossFit. And at first, I was brand new, had no idea what the movements were, never lifted a barbell in my life. And so once I started coming to classes more, learning how to move my body, move a barbell, be able to do a pull-up, I got more confident in my abilities. And then I was more competitive at that point. I started competing with people in class, like trying to see who would get the best time. And then eventually there started like local competitions around, and I would enter into local competitions, and I found myself starting to do better at these competitions, and eventually I started winning. So I started training more towards like a competitive type person, and eventually I worked my way up until I started competing on the larger scale.
So how long was your career as a competitor? Are you still competing now, or are you
I am retired. Yeah, I was competing starting in 2015 all the way until 2018.
Okay, so just recently. So just recently out. Now that you're coaching at your own gym, that must be kind of a dream thing for you.
Yeah. It's definitely an awesome transition from being an athlete, being in the gym all the time, and now kind of being able to use what I've learned in the gym and bringing it over to my athletes and my members and teaching them what I've learned.
So because of your huge array of athleticism and fitness experience, right? So, and me being a coach as well in other aspects, the big question here and why we have you in here is because we're focusing on women today in this vlog. And the biggest thing that I get as a coach that has been very unsuccessful for me in many occasions is that folks are dialing in today and they want to listen to it because they have this myth that I'm going to lift a dumbbell or I'm going to lift some weights, and like as a woman they're going to immediately get bulky or get huge where they just get so big like a guy they can't walk through the doorway, right? So I get that from clients, and this is my experience, and you know, they're telling me all the time like, oh, you know, I need to lose a lot of weight, so I've just been dieting, I haven't, you know, been restricting my diet, and I've just been doing lots of cardio and losing weight. But for me to convince them sometimes that like weights should be integrated into your training regimen, not necessarily every day, but into your training regimen. Sometimes that doesn't strike home just because it's coming from a guy who can lift weights and looks bulky. So with your experience, I'm sure that you get a lot of women, especially in CrossFit and other fitness aspects, that folks come in from other places to your box gym. What can you tell them about that myth of like, you know, oh, I'm going to bulk up, you know, as
I
as
get it all the time.
Yes.
Well, and they see the women on TV that are professional athletes doing the CrossFit Games, and they are jacked. They are ripped, but you don't know what goes into their diets, their training routine. It's not the average day person. So I'm glad you had Amber on here before, because her vlog would be very important to kind of tie into mine. basically to be that bulky, number one, you have to have testosterone, which women do, but not in the capacity that a man does. So it's physically impossible, unless you're taking steroids or some other supplement, to get that big to not be able to walk through a doorway. And you see that in powerlifting and bodybuilding for women at certain stages.
Certain levels, yeah, sure.
They do get that big because they have to supplement with that testosterone or some other supplements as such.
Yeah, and that's how the muscles grow that big. So what can you tell women who just they need to get leaner, or they want to get to lose more weight or burn more calories more, and we tell them, both of us as trainers, we tell them that you need to lift weights. So we're dispelling the myth of them not bulking up, but they still need to lift weights. So as soon as they get to that point, they still need to be able to think, like, folks watching here saying, should I be lifting weights, or should I just be doing cardio? So what do you tell your clients, like women clients, that they're not going to get bulky?
Right. Well, you got to first identify what your goal is. Is it to lose weight? Is it to build muscle? A combination of the both, be healthier. In order to lose weight, you have to be in a caloric deficit, which Amber, I'm sure, talked about. Sure. And that way you're able to see the muscle tone that's lying underneath. But in order to see the muscle tone, you have to have muscles. And in order to do that, you have to build them with resistance training, which is what we do in CrossFit. Resistance training doesn't even have to be dumbbells or heavy lifting squats or anything like that. Any time when you're working the muscle against resistance is working those muscles and building.
So like anything's from body weight squats, or any like type of calisthenic workouts, or just body weight exercises, push-ups.
Yeah, and even adding bands, resistance bands, something where your muscles working against it.
Now, do women need to be concerned about heavier weights, bigger muscles, or is that also just a myth?
You want to lift heavy enough that you're feeling your muscle working and contracting. If you're lifting 2.5 pound plates and just repetitively doing that, your body adapts to it, and it's not going to push itself. And eventually it adapts, and you have to eventually go heavier to get the adaptation to take effect.
But that should not necessarily, as a casual fitness fanatic, or folks that are out there, they're running these races that we have for them, they can still lift weights and they should still feel
absolutely
nice and
it'll
lean
probably
and strong.
Improve their running, because now they're building muscle to power them through these long runs or races.
Good point. Good point. So there's a lot of muscle endurance, but also by lifting weights, the muscles itself can help them go through the
exactly.
So I guess there's also a comparison that I have that I can bounce off of you too. It's like the composition of somebody who's like a marathon runner versus somebody who's like a sprinter.
Exactly.
And I see this in the Olympics all the time, that they are both runners, but their body types look completely
different, right? So you'll look at a marathon runner, their body type, very lean muscle tone, because that's what they need to perform. If they had big, bulky muscles from using power in their legs, they wouldn't be able to go as fast. So it's dependent on what your goal is. If you want to be powerful, sprinter, have some tone to your muscles, you need to build those muscles up. So that's why sprinters do weightlifting exercises to help propel them faster.
So, the biggest thing that I've also been hearing from a lot of our folks that are just tuning into, like, listening to this stuff now with lifting weights. So, adaptation, right? You had mentioned it earlier about women, starting slower, starting lighter to lift. That's something that they shouldn't be doing for a long time, right? They should be adapting to the weights and then pushing and lifting
eventually,
heavier.
yes. Yeah, so in the beginning, if you're not used to lifting weights, it's totally fine to take that time to figure out what is suitable for you to prevent injury and just kind of build that good base. A lot of people want to jump the gun too quickly and start just lifting heavy, and that's not necessarily the right approach. You want to take things slow, build that strong strength base, and continually, gradually increase your weights.
So now we get to, let's say, muscle building. We're lifting weights. Our female members are lifting weights and stuff, but they're not necessarily seeing results. So what kind of experience do you have with that? So is it something that is the intensity of the workout, or is it a diet? Is it a combination of both?
It could be a combination of both. It could be, if you know the phrase like where you can't outtrain a bad diet. It's really true.
Okay.
You can't really outtrain a bad diet. If you go in the gym, you get a solid hour-class workout, but then you go home and eat a whole pizza. It just negates everything. So like losing weight, like I said earlier, you have to be in a caloric deficit to be able to do that. But then you also have to fuel your body properly with nutrition to be able to build those muscles, recover properly, and get back in the gym and not be totally like wrecked the next day.
So, I mean, I think right now the trend with a lot of workouts, right? Especially now with what we're in this environment of being in quarantine. Folks are running outside, you know, they're running at their own pace, and they're going, you know, certain distances over time. How important is it for them, not necessarily the weight portion, but how important is it for women, especially to do the cross training? You know, to do
Especially for
interval
women,
training,
yeah.
and even just the body weight exercises. How important is it for them to not just do the running, like they need to integrate this other types of styles?
One thing
exercises?
that's really important for women is osteoporosis. Muscle building helps with the slowing of that process and actually will prevent brittle bones and make your bones strong, muscles strong that surround them, and just your lifestyle in general. If there's things that you have kids, you want to chase them, run around, you can't do that when you have no muscle on you. So you want to be able to do life things, be able to go hiking or kayaking, using your fitness just outside of running for everyday life activities.
So I think I also think that's a big thing for women too, is the myth with the weights, but also kind of like a look of themselves. Like they have to really look at themselves in the mirror, because a lot of clients, even male and female clients, combine it. You have some sort of, I would say, you know, it's out there with fitness, is body dysmorphia.
Right.
So they're seeing it and they're like, oh, I look too fat, or I look too skinny, and so like, you know, so that's one of those big mental things that they have to overcome.
Right. Unfortunately, social media perpetuates that notion. And that's the reason why I kind of like CrossFit, because it takes the body part out of it, and it's on your abilities. Like, oh, wow, that's amazing. You just power clean that bar up to your shoulders. Look, that you just did something awesome. It doesn't matter what your body looks like.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
So
That's
it kind
a
of
good way to
takes
say it.
that body part out of it and just focuses on your abilities as a human.
Yeah, and that's a good way to say, and that's an excellent way to kind of view how CrossFit is for, like you said, for folks that think that maybe it's intimidating. Now, last thing, what are some takeaways that you can give women that are listening into this right now, and they're saying, okay, that's a lot of, again, a lot of information. Like, what is a couple, 2 or 3 things that you can tell them about lifting weights? Like, what?
Well,
some steps,
I would
baby
say,
steps that they can do. Yeah.
do you have to pick a exercise program that you enjoy doing? So if you really enjoy running, stick with the running. That's like, there's nothing wrong with that. If you really like CrossFit, stick with CrossFit. If you love martial arts, do that. It's just important not to stick to just one thing, one modality. It's good for your body to be challenged and adapt to those challenges, because if you're doing the same thing continually over and over again, your body adapts to that and it plateaus and you won't see any changes. So in order to kind of push your body to the next level, you have to incorporate weights or sprinting or just little things here and there to kind of bring you to that next level. And it also could include diet too as well. So it's not just your training, but adding the weights, getting it on a good nutrition plan, eating more clean and whole foods can really up your performance, help your sleep, help your lifestyle, your bones, your muscles, just longevity in general.
And if you're getting to that problem where you have to adapt, that's a good problem.
Yeah, because that means
you're getting better.
You've met that challenge and now your body's ready to move forward.
Thanks, Katie, for telling us all this stuff. So a lot of awesome information. All right, guys, thank you. That's it for today's vlog. I want to thank Katie for coming in to share some awesome insight on weightlifting for women and why it is extremely important, and this should be something that you should be learning from. So stick around. We got more to come. Yes.Fit. We'll see you guys next time.